Today is a new day, a day filled with time and new opportunities, and I decided to make a Pokemon video. Hey everyone, it's Lucky Lucario, and today I'll be putting my Pokemon skills to the test and decide if it's possible to beat Pokemon Fire Red only using Fire-type moves. You might think that this is an easy challenge. After all, you can have more than one Pokemon at the end of the playthrough, and it doesn't seem hard as some other videos out there. Okay, I'm not trying to waste mindless hours grinding on a playthrough challenge that might just go wrong at the end. This took over a month to complete, script, and edit, and it only takes a click of a button to like, and I really appreciate every like I get on this channel, and it means a lot. So, if you want to, please hit the like button and maybe subscribe. The reason this challenge is so hard is for numerous amount of reasons. To start off, there aren't a lot of fire types in the Kanto region. Most of them are mid-game, and this isn't just a fire-type Pokemon challenge. We're only allowed to use fire-type moves as well. This is definitely going to make things worse, since we can't type variety, we don't have any type coverage, and it's definitely going to be hard to beat those hard trainers like Lance, who resist fire-type moves, and definitely Misty as well, will be very hard. So I really hope I don't regret this midway. Here are the Pokemon moves in Fire Red that are fire-type. Definitely some good moves here, but limited Pokemon in Fire Red limits most of these moves. And no, we can't catch Vulpix, Magmar, etc. In the Cinnabar Mansion, so we definitely don't have a lot of these moves. I only realized this midway through making the challenge, and I didn't want to restart, so yeah. Here are the Pokemon we can catch. You might be wondering why there's no Moltres when you can catch it in Victory Road. Well, I am implementing a no legendaries rule, since Moltres would just make this too easy, and I feel like it would be much more challenging and much more fun if we didn't add any legendaries into this playthrough. Fire-type moves are resisted by Brock, Misty's, some of Bruno's Onyx's, and Lance's full team. Also, our rival's Ace, Blastoise, and some of Lorelei's Pokemon are water-type. I might be able to pull this off if I grind a lot. The rules are simple. I can only use fire-type moves with the exception of HMs. If another type Pokemon can learn a fire-type move, I can use that Pokemon as well. For example, Snorlax can learn like Flamethrower, so I could use Snorlax but only use the Flamethrower. No items in battle, no cheats, glitches, or exploiting the game in any ways. This will be a solid run. The game will be on set mode as well as an extra challenge. I will stop talking for now and let's get into this insane challenge. So I started the game and named myself Lucky. I got a bit too curious and want to leave Pallet Town. All of a sudden this professor comes to us and says, "You don't have any Pokemon?" Before I knew it, I got a Charmander. I decided to name this Charmander Pepper Breath. Pepper Breath! Before continuing this challenge, I know that Pepper Breath only knows normal type moves, so I can't use any moves. In theory, that is correct, but I just decided on Route 1 I'll just level up to level 7 when Charmander learns Ember, and that is when the challenge will officially begin. Before I can execute my plan, we have to have our first rival fight. Our rival obviously chose Squirtle, and our rival was very dumb, using Tackle once and then just spamming Tail Whip, so we won pretty easily. I went on to Route 1 and got to level 7. The early game was pretty smooth as it usually is. We delivered Oak's parcel to him, and the Viridian Forest was a cakewalk since Charmander's a fire type. But now we enter our very first challenge, the rock type gym leader Brock. This challenge would be much easier than you think. First off, one of the annoying things about Brock is the move Defense Curl. Defense Curl is a move that boosts your defense. Emphasis on defense. Since we can only use Ember, a special move, Defense Curl is absolutely useless, and I'm hoping Ember will still do decent damage due to Geodude's low special defense stat, with Geodude's being 20 and Onyx's being 45. With this being said, I entered the gym at level 13 and managed to get through the trainer with that level, so I wanted to see how we would do against Brock. Brock obviously starts with Geodude, and we bring out Pepper Breath, our Charmander. We outspeed with Ember, and it actually does a decent amount of damage. I hope around 4 of these can take out Geodude. Geodude goes for Defense Curl, which is absolutely useless, and we go for a second Ember, which leaves Geodude in the yellow. Geodude goes for Tackle, which does a small amount of damage, and we go for an Ember, which leaves Geodude almost in the red. Geodude goes for Defense Curl one time, and on the next turn, we can knock it out with Ember. We level up just in time for us to go against Brock's ace, Onix. Ember does so little damage, but Onix's tackles do even less to us. We both go for Ember/Tackle for 3 turns when Onix goes for Rock Tomb. Luckily it misses because we definitely wouldn't survive one. Unfortunately, Onix hits its second Rock Tomb and Pepper Breath gets wiped out. This is our first whiteout. We spend a lot of time grinding to level 16, and it takes so long when you get so little from the battles. But eventually we do get to level 16 and Charmander evolves into Charmeleon. It's time for our second attempt at Brock. Brock's Geodude was much easier this time, with Ember doing more damage. After 3 Embers, Charmeleon takes out the Geodude. Next was Brock's ace, Onix. We go for Ember and it does about 1/5 of Onix's HP. But Onix goes for Rock Tomb but misses. At this point, I'm not too worried because I don't think Rock Tomb will OHKO. We go for another Ember, which leaves Onix in the yellow. With a strain of luck, when Onix misses its second Rock Tomb, we go for Ember a 3rd time, but Onix finally lands a Rock Tomb. It doesn't even bring us into the yellow, so I feel like it's basically a guaranteed win. Onix does manage one more bind, but regardless, we just have beat... Oh, come on! Anyways, we get Onix next turn, and with that we have the Boulder Badge. We make short work of the trainers on Route 3 and make our way to Mount Moon. We didn't run out of PP for Ember like I thought, but I thought that none of the grunts were hard, so we just went along to Cerulean City.
Oh, and on my way through, I took the Helix fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what I took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm.
Oh, get out of here, my dry bread. Cerulean City proved to be a hard challenge, one of the hardest challenges in this game, especially when you can only use Ember. We have the Cerulean Gym, which is filled with water-type Pokemon, but then there's also a rival battle who has a Squirtle. I chose the rival fight first since it's just one water type at a lower level. It's also in its baby stage, and we have a Charmeleon. Our rival brings up Pidgeotto, and we of course just have to use that Ember strategy. We go for Ember and it does almost half damage. Pidgeotto uses Sand Attack, which is unfortunate since now we can miss any crucial attacks. To prove this, we miss our next Ember while Pidgeotto lands a Gust. Pepper Breath lands his 3rd Ember and leaves Pidgeotto in the red, and Pidgeotto lands another Gust attack. Our rival made the smart move of hitting Quick Attack, so at least it got some chip damage before we killed Pidgeotto. We weren't in a good position though. Squirtle comes out next and we are already in the yellow. Ember can't really do anything, but Squirtle decides to withdraw. We miss our second Ember and Squirtle withdraws again. Same thing happens on our 3rd turn. Luckily we land our next Ember and Squirtle goes for a Water Gun. One more Water Gun and we lose. The battle was basically over. We go for Ember, leaving Squirtle in the yellow and burning it, but regardless, a Water Gun takes us out. I try this again at level 24. Our rival brings out Pidgeotto, and of course we have to bring out Charmeleon. Ember leaves Pidgeotto in the yellow and we get a lucky burn. Pidgeotto uses Sand Attack, but our next Ember takes out the bird. We're at full HP when Squirtle comes out. Ember still doesn't do that much, but on the next turn, Squirtle withdraws. We get a second Ember out there and Squirtle Tail Whips. Our next Ember leaves Squirtle in the yellow, and that's when Squirtle decides to Water Gun. It does around 15 HP, but I'm hoping we don't miss now. Luckily we don't miss our next Ember and we leave Squirtle in the red HP. Squirtle does hit a Water Gun leaving us in the yellow, but our next Ember can take the turtle out. Next was Abra, which can't do anything, so it's just free XP, and lastly is Rattata. Rattata lands Quick Attack Critical Hit, which leaves us at 5 HP, but we do land our Ember and it OHKOs. Our rival gives us the Fame Checker, which we'll probably never use, but I'm just glad that that's over. I knew that if we could hardly swing by with our rival, we wouldn't stand a chance against Misty Starmie, so I trained up on the Nugget Bridge. When we became level 26, I tried Misty for the first time. Misty starts with Staryu, and we start with Charmeleon. We use Ember first, and it does around 1/3 of status damage. Staryu uses Water Pulse, which does around the same amount of damage. We use another Ember, and Staryu goes for Recover. We go for Ember again, and Staryu uses Water Pulse, which leaves us in the red. Our last Ember brings Staryu down, but we are in the red, so we can't even beat Starmie. I try again at level 28. Ember still doesn't do half damage, so it's still a 3-hit KO. Staryu goes for Harden, which is basically useless, and we go for another Ember, and Staryu is almost in the red this time, but Misty is smart and goes for Recover. This undoes the Ember we just used and some of the other Ember. So we have to go for Ember again, leaving Staryu in the yellow, and Staryu hardens, leaving the next turn for us to Ember and take on the Staryu. I was feeling confident since we hadn't taken any HP from the Staryu, but Starmie was out next, and Ember did nothing. It would basically be impossible to win from using these Embers. I knew that Starmie would take us out very quickly. I knew that level 30 still wouldn't be enough, so I went up to level 32. At this point, I should have just trained to level 34, since that's when Charmeleon learned Flamethrower, but I thought 32 was enough grinding, and levels really sucked when you were going against a level 10 Rattata. At level 32, our Ember attacks could take half of Staryu's HP on the first turn, and Staryu goes for Harden, letting us finish it off with Ember the next turn. We're still at full HP when the big bad Starmie came out. I feel like that even if I spend the last hour grinding, the Ember did like a sliver more HP. Water Pulse did almost half my HP, and there's no way I was going to win this one. Finally, I got to level 34 and learned Flamethrower. Now I'm confident that Flamethrower will do enough damage. It has 95 base power, which is so much better than Ember's 40 base power. We finally start the next match against Misty, and wow, she is so hard to beat. We used 2 Embers to take down the Staryu down, and when Starmie came out, I used Flamethrower, and it did more than half HP. Water Pulse still did a lot, but on the next turn, Flamethrower took out the Starmie. Finally, we beat the Water-type Gym Leader and earned the Cascade Bat. I took a picture with the pro gym guy and saved the game. After that incredible battle, I helped my friend Bill, who gave me a ticket to the SSN. We headed to Vermilion City and made it onto the SSN. I don't even bother with any of the trainers since Pepper Breath is so overleveled, but we do have a rival fight on the SSN. I don't even want to go over it since we are so overleveled. It was a cakewalk, but I'll just go over it just for the record. Pidgeotto was out first, and while it did get a quick attack in there, we were able to take it out with one Flamethrower. Next up was Wartortle, and it's still level 20, which is strange, because in the last rival fight, our rival had a level 20 Squirtle, so how did it evolve without leveling up? Anyways, we used Flamethrower, and it brings Wartortle to the yellow. Wartortle goes for Withdraw, and on the next turn, we take out Wartortle with a Flamethrower. Next was Eradicate, and I critical hit Flamethrower, took out the fat rat. Lastly was Kadabra, when Flamethrower took it out, and after the rival, we rub the captain's back and get cut. With that, I am ready to take on the gym. To get in, I caught an Oddish to use Cut. Just to go over the rules, since I know there's going to be comments out there saying that that's not allowed, but remember, I can catch any Pokemon I want, as long as I don't use it in battle, or if I use it in battle, it knows a Fire-type move, and I only use the Fire-type move. I can still use any typed moves I want, like if we're going against a rival Misty, for example, and I use Oddish, but Oddish knows Flamethrower for some reason, then that's completely allowed. So and I can also use HMs outside of battle, since otherwise it would be impossible to actually get through the run. But with that being said, it's time for the gym. I don't really have to go over this gym fight since it was that easy. Right before the gym leader, Charmeleon evolved into Charizard. For some reason, the gym puzzle took me longer time, but when we actually got to Lieutenant Surge, I one-shot sweeped his entire team. I feel like the next part of this challenge is going to be really easy since we are so over-leveled. Yeah, the gym puzzle took me longer than the gym leader, so I found that pretty funny. This next part I did off camera since my game recorder was acting all weird, so I was hoping I'd just give it some time, but to get the HM Flash, you need to have caught at least 10 kinds of Pokemon, so I caught some and switch trained them to evolve. This definitely took a while, but going through Rock Tunnel without Flash is basically guaranteed I would get lost, and I don't want to make our whiteout count so high, because I was keeping track of the whiteouts. I picked up the bike voucher in Vermilion City and headed back to Cerulean City to obtain my bike.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle, bicycle.
Then I got some repels and made my way to Rock Tunnel. I'll briefly mention Rock Tunnel since it isn't too important, and since we're so over-leveled, we could just sweep through it. There were a lot of Slowpokes, and we did run out of Flamethrower PP in the middle of the cave, but it wasn't very important. Finally, we made it into Lavender Town. Finally, we could add another Pokemon to the team. I went to Route 8 and caught myself a Growlithe, with which I named Clifford. Right now, the only move Clifford knows is Ember. I can't train it at all though, and so I just set for the rival battle. I started with Growlithe, but I forgot how unleveled it was. Its Pidgeotto was out first, and when Growlithe did absolutely no damage with its Ember, I brought out Charizard, who just swept through the entire rival fight. After the rival fight, I decided to head to the Celadon City's gym to challenge Erica. I leveled Clifford up to level 26, which is 3 levels under Erica's ace. I wanted to make this a bit of a challenge for me since it's been a while since that happened. I thought I'll be able to take out the whole gym, so I start off with Clifford, but we have Pepper Breath in the back pocket just in case we need it for the rest of the gym. I forgot Erica starts with a level 29, so I didn't think Growlithe's Ember would do that much. Regardless, Clifford does come out and outspeeds with Ember. Victory Bell goes for Stun Spore, but misses. I'm assuming that Victory Bell doesn't like getting outsped by a Pokemon who's 3 levels below it, which is absolutely insane. But Clifford gets another Ember, leaving Victory Bell in the red. Victory Bell gets another Stun Spore, which isn't great since now we have lost our speed advantage, but only 1 more Ember and we KO. Well, this sucks, but we do get an Ember in. Victory Bell goes for Acid, which hardly leaves Growlithe in the green, and we get paralyzed. Next turn, Victory Bell critical hits with Acid. Well, I was trying to make this game more challenging, but you forced me to bring out the big bad Charizard. Okay, after that not so challenging battle, we decided to take on the Team Rocket hideout. For about half an hour, I was just wandering about, but eventually I found the key and made my way to Giovanni. For this match, I used the same strategy as Erica's gym. I started with Growlithe and I had Charizard in the back of my pocket when the Growlithe dies. Giovanni starts with Onix and we immediately bring out Growlithe. I immediately regretted my strategy because I forgot that Giovanni starts with Onix. Instead of changing into Pepper Breath, who knows Flamethrower and could 2-shot, if not 1-shot, this pile of rocks, my dumbass decided to use Ember. Honestly, I did not know why I did this. I think I just wasn't thinking clearly or something, but anyways, Onix also bind. So now I can't switch out. Growlithe was basically as dead as Iron Man. I tried to make it more fun, but once again, I had to bring out Pepper Breath and sweep through Giovanni's entire team. After getting the Sylph Scope, I made my way to Lavender Town to go to the Ghost Tower. After going up the Ghost Tower in Lavender Town and saving Mr. Fuji, we obtained the flute so we can wake up Snorlax. But before we do that, it's time to add another Fire-type Pokemon to the team. Up on the Celadon Mansion, we can acquire an Eevee, which we can later evolve using a Fire Stone. There just happens to be a giant Pokemon with evolution stones in Celadon City, so we can just go there. I decided to evolve the Eevee into a Flareon, which we named Scorch, by the way. I also bought a Firestone for Growlithe and made the really dumb decision of evolving our Growlithe. Doing this prevents Clifford from learning any moves in the future since Arcanine doesn't learn any moves. When I realized that, it had already been too late, so I went to the Route East of Celadon and caught a second Clifford, and I released Clifford the first. We made short work of the trainers on Route 14 and down to Fuchsia City. Here we have to do a few things. We have to complete the safari task, give the warden his gold teeth, and there's also a gym here. I easily complete the safari task and give the warden his gold teeth, but I know it's time for the gym leader Koga. Quickly, I recap before the gym since there's just a few changes. First, we have Pepper Breath the Charizard. Everything is the same with him. He's still a bit over-leveled at the level of level 45. He knows Ember and Flamethrower like usual. Next is Clifford at level 40. He knows Flame Wheel and Ember. And lastly is Scorch the Flareon. He only knows Fire Spin, which is a bit unfortunate, but great Death Father if we ever need a clean switch. And he can get chip damage in. So first Koga sends out Coughing and I bring out Clifford. I used Flame Wheel to see how much damage it does, and it critical hit Koga's coughing. Next is Muck, and I keep Clifford in since it's at full HP and go for Flame Wheel. Muck uses Minimize, trying to become invincible. In Generation 1, this move absolutely sucked. It was extremely OP. But here it's a little bit different. I go for Flame Wheel, and it looks like 3 more of those would take out the big blob of poison. Muck goes for another Minimize, and somehow we get another Flame Wheel in, but that's when Koga makes his first attack. Koga's Muck went for Sludge, which did roughly more than half of my HP. I was dead to a critical hit, but I stayed and I used Flame Wheel. Of course, the Minimize got to us and we missed. Koga went for another Minimize, which definitely did not help. I brought out Pepper Breath, who was poisoned from the trainer battles. Muck got Sludge in, and we were in a risky situation. I went for Flamethrower, which took out Muck, and next was Koga second coughing. Predicting the Sludge, I switched into Growlithe, who took it but got poisoned. We managed to get a Flame Wheel before Clifford is killed. I decided on doing this because we need Charizard at its best for the Wheezing, and we can't be taking damage from coughing because Clifford wouldn't be able to beat the Wheezing. Lastly was Koga's Ace, Wheezing. We were in the low yellow, so I was hoping for a one-shot. To make our chances better, I brought in Scorch the Eevee, which I was hoping could do a fire spin. Wheezing goes for Sludge, and Scorch was taken out. Lastly was Pepper Breath, who only had one chance of killing. We were in the red, but luckily the Flamethrower connected and we took out Wheezing, winning us the Soul Badge. Whew, that was a weird battle. I went up all the way to Celadon to get the HM Fly, which I honestly should have done earlier, and I taught it to my Pidgey. I just caught it for this. We made our way to Saffron, and now we have a ton of important battles. First is our rival battle in the Sylph Co. Our rival brings out his fully evolved Pidgeot, and we bring out Clifford. Pidgey goes for Wing Attack, and I go for Flame Wheel. This went on for 3 turns, and finally we were both in the red. Since Pidgeot outspeeds Clifford, I switch into Pepper Breath. While Pidgeot gets a Wing Attack, we finish it off with a Flamethrower. Next is the dreaded Blastoise. Even with 8 levels, I was not confident that we could beat Blastoise and the rest of his team, which includes an Alakazam. I go for Flamethrower, but he uses Protect. Next turn, I land a Flamethrower, which does about a third of Blastoise's HP. Blastoise goes for Water Gun, which leaves us right outside the yellow. When I tried Flamethrower, Blastoise protected again, and I could just tell that our rival was trying to stall our PP out. I didn't realize you could use Protect twice in a row in Gen 3, or maybe this is just some dumb AI cheats or something. So when Blastoise did it, I got a bit mad. Luckily we got a Flamethrower, which leaves Blastoise in the yellow, and we got a Burn, which is great. Even if Blastoise protected, it would still take chip damage from Burn. Blastoise goes for a Water Gun, leaving us with 50 HP. At this point, a crit Water Gun would kill us, so I switched into Scorch, which took the blow. Now Blastoise is in the red. I decided to leave in Scorch because if I switch and Blastoise landed a crit, things would be bad. Scorch tanked another Water Gun, and with Fire Spin and Burn damage, we took the big-ass turtle out. When Growlithe came in, I decided not to switch and to sack Scorch so we could have a clean switch. Just a reminder, I am playing on set mode. Scorch actually got a Fire Spin, which is great. Flareon also has Flash Fire, so fire type attacks can't hurt it. Because of this, we took 2 turns to take down Flareon. I brought out Pepper Breath, who went for Flamethrower, leaving Growlithe at 1 HP. Growlithe went for Takedown and before falling in battle. Next is Execute, which we just one-shot up with Flamethrower, and finally was Alakazam, which just died to a Flamethrower. That Blastoise was a bit challenging, but now we caught up in a fight with Giovanni. But before we got a gift Pokemon from some random guy, and now we could use a Lapras for Surf. Now it's Team Rocket time. Giovanni started with a Nidorino, and we sent out Clifford. It's a Nidorino. My script just messed up. Nidorino used Fury Attack, which did a little HP, and we got Flame Wheel in, which it didn't do much. And Nidorino's Poison Point activated. I thought Flame Wheel was a special attack, so I didn't worry about Poison Point, but luckily on the next turn we get a burn on Nidorino. On the next turn I switch into Scorch since Nidorino is low on health. Nidorino gets a critical hit and Horn Attack, but we can take that well. Burn damage almost killed it, but with a bit of persuasion from Fire Spin, Nidorino fell in battle. Next was Rydon, and I immediately set up Fire Spin. Rydon gets a Scary Face in, and before I decide to switch out, I switch into Pepper Breath, and after taking a Fury Cutter, Pepper Breath can kill Rydon with Flamethrower. Next was Kangaskhan. I switch into Clifford and Kangaskhan went for Tail Whip. On the next turn, Kangaskhan goes for Rage, and after that, Clifford dies. With Scorch and Pepper Breath still healthy, I'm confident that we can win. I bring out Pepper Breath, and with one crit Flamethrower, the wild animal falls. I didn't know whether the crit was necessary, but I don't care at this point. Lastly was Nidoqueen, and to get some experience on Scorch, I switch into Scorch and Fire Spin. Switch out to Charizard, who Flamethrower kills, and with that, we beat Giovanni and get the Master Ball. It won't do us any good since we already have all of the Pokemon we need, since we aren't using Moltres. The third big battle in Saffron is the Gym Leader Sabrina. She's probably the hardest Kanto Gym Leader, but let's see how this goes. Sabrina brings up Kadabra, and we bring up Scorch. Kadabra goes to Calm Mind when we go for Fire Spin. We switch into Clifford when Kadabra goes for Future Sight, and on the next turn, Kadabra goes for Calm Mind, and we go for Flame Wheel. After that, Kadabra gets a Psybeam, critical hits, and kills Clifford. Kadabra probably didn't need a crit after all those Calm Minds, but damn. Well, we switch into Pepper Breath, and that's when we take a Future Sight attack, which leaves us right outside the yellow. Yikes, this was gonna be hard. One Flamethrower took out the last Alakazam though. Or maybe that was Kadabra, my script is weird. Next was Mr. Mime, and one Flamethrower left it in the red. Since Sabrina has a Calm Mind fetish, we can kill on the next turn. Or so I thought. Sabrina plays smartly and uses her Hyper Potion. I'm just glad she didn't use it on her ace. Our Flamethrower leaves Mr. Mime in the yellow, and on the next turn, we take her out. Next is Venomoth, which we can just one-shot since it's Bug-type, and Alakazam lost to 2 Flamethrowers. This definitely could have been tougher. Hey, if you're watching up until this point, you're obviously enjoying the content, so please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I know that if at least you made it this far, at least leave a like, because you're obviously enjoying it, and we're so close to 200 subscribers, so it would just be great if we could make it there. So please leave a like and subscribe. After that battle, I pack my bag filled with repels and make my way to Seafoam Island. After navigating the cave, we can make it to Cinnabar Island. For some reason, the rest of the footage of the part all got corrupted, and I have no idea why. But the Blaine fight was pretty challenging. Scorch died, and Clifford and Pepper Breath was in the red at the end. The Giovanni fight was a cakewalk. Pepper Breath wiped out Giovanni's team since it was flying type and therefore immune to earthquakes. The rival fight was super hard though. We lost 3 times to the Blastoise even when we were all level 53, the level of the Blastoise. We went to the Safari Zone and got the TM for Sunny Day and taught it to Scorch. This obviously boosts our fire attack, but also negates Blastoise Rainy Day, which our rival uses a lot. So in the last fight when Blastoise came out, it used Rainy Day and we used Sunny Day. We did this over and over until Blastoise was out of PP, then while the sun was up, we could take it down. Now the files are all good and you can see the screen. This was the hardest part of the challenge, the Elite Four. But before we have to go through Victory Road. Okay, I think I'm ready to take on the Elite Four. I leveled my Pokemon to level 53, hoping that will be enough. On the first and hopefully only attempt, we start off with Clifford against Lorelai's Dugong. Before we can even attack, a Surf from Lorelai's Dugong takes us out. I send out Scorch to set up Sunny Day immediately after Dugong goes for Hail, canceling our boosted attack. Our Fire Blast did about 1/5 of Dugong's HP. Dugong gets Surf and kills Scorch. All we have left is our starter. We go for Flamethrower, leaving Dugong at yellow HP. Dugong decides to go for Safeguard. We go for another Flamethrower, which leaves Dugong at yellow HP. Our critical hit Surf manages to take out Charizard though. So on attempt number 1, we couldn't even get past the Dugong. We try again at level 46, but it didn't go much differently. Dugong was out first, and we start with Surf. I bring in Scorch before we can even set up Sunny Day. Dugong hits us hard with Surf, leaving us in the yellow. The sun came up and Dugong hailed, so that was useless, and on top of that, we missed our Fire Blast. On the next turn, Dugong puts us out with Surf. We are left with our starter against a Dugong at full HP. We couldn't even attack. this deformed seal thing. A couple flamethrowers in, but Dugong is just too strong. On attempt 3, I leveled to level 60, the level of Lance's Ace Dragonite. I guess I would thought I was too underleveled, but I just started with Pepper Breath since it was the only thing that has done damage by far. But 2 surfs later and Dugong was in the yellow and Pepper Breath was out of breath. Pun intended. I brought out Scorch and used Sunny Day. Surf with Sunny Day did only about a quarter of our damage and we landed Fire Blast, taking out the seal with the fish arms. Next was Cloyster, which went down to a Fire Blast. Next was Lapras, and a Fire Blast did about 2/3 of damage. Lapras gets a Body Slam in and a Paralysis, so we lose our speed advantage. On the next turn, Surf almost takes us out, but we live enough to do one more Fire Blast, which take out the Lapras. Next was Slowbro, and we lost the Sun. Slowbro was faster due to Paralysis and took us out with Surf. I brought in Clifford, who did a bit of damage, but was brutally killed by Surf. But at least we progressed a bit. I realized that leveling up would just be so long at this point, I needed to try something else. Since we were playing Fire Red and not Leaf Green, we couldn't get Vulpix, Magmar, and all those other Pokemon in the Cinnabar Mansion. Kind of ironic that Pokemon Fire Red has less Fire-type Pokemon than in Leaf Green. Then I thought that we could use more TMs. So after a few minutes on Google, I saw that the only Fire-type TMs in this game are Flamethrower, Sunny Day, and Overheat. Everyone on my team knows Flamethrower. Scorch already has Sunny Day, but we didn't have Overheat yet. Then I found out that Overheat is in Victory Road. So after a few minutes of aimlessly walking around Victory Road, I found a TM for Overheat. I taught it to Charizard since Charizard had the best special attack, but I realized I should have taught it to Clifford. You'll see why soon. On attempt 4, we lost to Lapras. And if I explain every attempt, we would be here for hours, so I'm just going to say how we died on each attempt. On attempt 5, we lost to Slowbro. We were also at level 65. At this point, I realized we could still evolve Clifford, so I went and did that. Now, Clifford's stats are better than Pepper Breath, so this evolution made a huge difference. On attempt number 6, we start with Scorch and Lorelei starts with Dugong. We go for Fire Blast and Dugong goes for Safeguard, eliminating our chance to burn. On the next turn, I go for Fire Blast and miss. This was getting annoying. Dugong luckily goes for Hail, but because we didn't have the Sun up, if Dugong went for Surf, Scorch would have been dead. On the next turn, I go Fire Blast. Dugong gets a Surf next turn, so I definitely should have put the Sun up. If I didn't, it didn't do as much as I thought, but we were still in the green. Lorelei full restores next turn, and we miss another Fire Blast. God, we miss an awful lot of these. On the next turn, I actually grew a Brain and went for Sunny Day, which made the following Surf attack do less damage. But of course, the next turn, we miss a Fire Blast. And the Dugong goes for Hail. I set up one last Sunny Day and get knocked out by Surf. I bring in Pepper Breath and go for Flamethrower, which is a 3-hit knockout. Unfortunately, we lose the Sun and get hailed on instead. God, this is like Groudon and Kyogre, but with ice. We still get the Flamethrower next turn, but take massive damage from Surf. We finally next turn we take out Dugong. Cloyster went down with one Flamethrower. Lapras was next and we get a crit Overheat, which knocks it out. Slowbro came next and we get lucky and get another crit Overheat, which negates our special attack drop. And take out the Pokemon with eyes on its tail. Like seriously, what's up with that? Lastly is Jinx. We go for Overheat, which does more than half, but we get put to sleep with a Lovely Kiss. We bring in Clifford, who tanks an Ice Punch, but gets frozen. Next turn, we defrost and land Flamethrower, knocking out Jinx. This was the first time I beat Lorelei in this challenge. I healed up and went to battle Bruno. Bruno starts with Onix and we start with Clifford. I didn't really have a strategy except spam Flamethrower, so that's what I did. It brought Onix in the yellow and Onix goes for Rock Tomb, but it does almost nothing. Next is Hitmonchan, and it outspeeds and goes for Sky Uppercut. This doesn't do much, and on the next turn we retaliate with Flamethrower. Hitmonchan misses its next Sky Uppercut, but we can take it out next turn. Bruno brings his Ace Machamp next, and we go for Flamethrower, bringing the Machamp to the yellow and burning it. That was critical since Machamp has a Citrus Berry. We knock it out next turn, and next was Bruno's second Pokemon. I think it's Onix. It says Pokemon on my script. I don't know why. We get a Flamethrower in, but it Earthquakes. Next turn, we can knock it out. Hitmonlee was last, but it was really easy to beat. Next is Agatha. Agatha brings out Gengar first, and we bring out Scorch. We missed our first Flamethrower thanks to Double Team, and on the next turn we get confused. The reason I used Flamethrower is because we were out of Fire Blast power points. I switched to Pepper Breath and Gengar Double Teams. We connect, making a Flamethrower which almost kills the Gengar. Gengar goes for Double Team, making it harder to hit after Agatha heals up. Next turn, Agatha Fuller Storms, and we miss our Flamethrower. We even miss another one after that, and Gengar Double Teams again. Finally, we connect the Flamethrower and take out that Gengar. Next is Golbat, and we get it in the red and burn. Next, we can take it out. After that, Arbok came out. We go for Overheat and take out the Snake. Next is Agatha's other Gengar. We Fire Spin it for some reason, and Gengar landed Hypnosis. We switch into Clifford, predicting Nightmare. Gengar uses Sludge Bomb and poisons the big red dog. We land another Flamethrower, which takes out Gengar, the yellow. Next, Gengar hits Sludge Bomb, and we go for one more Flamethrower, which takes out Gengar. Lastly was Haunter, which lost to a Flamethrower. Now, actually, the last Elite Four is Lance. Lance starts with Gyarados, and we bring out Scorch. We start with Sunny Day while Gyarados bites us. After that, I switch into Pepper Breath. We go for Flamethrower, and it does about half with the sun. Gyarados lands a Dragon Rage, but doesn't do much. We go for another Flamethrower, but we get a low roll, and it doesn't kill. Gyarados lands a Hyper Beam, and we are in a tricky spot now. We are out of Flamethrower PP on Charizard and only have one Overheat PP. So, I went for Fire Spin and knocked out Gyarados. Next is Aerodactyl, and we lost our Sun. So I switched into Scorch, hoping to set it up, but Ancient Power does so much damage, we don't outspeed, so we just wasted a Pokemon. I bring in Clifford next, but he only has 2 Flamethrowers left. He can take an Ancient Power, but much more than Scorch can though. We get a Flamethrower in, but it does nothing. I go for Flame Wheel next turn, which can't do much as well. Eventually, Aerodactyl knocks us out. We only have Pepper Breath left at a low HP, but I have to bring him out anyways. We go for Overheat, which knocks out Aerodactyl. Next is Dragonair, but we only have Fire Spin on Pepper Breath, and that can't do much damage. I feel like if we had more Ethers, we could have won, because I could have used more Flamethrowers on Clifford, more Flamethrowers on Pepper Breath, and we could have set up Stun much more, and more Fire Pass on Scorch. So, when we get knocked out, I go looking for Ethers. After half an hour of collecting a ton of Ethers, I try my 7th attempt, only to lose to Lorelei. We need to get a lucky run with Lorelei in order to beat her still. We also lose attempt number 8 to her, and it wasn't until attempt number 10 that we finally got lucky and beat Lorelei. I easily beat Bruno after that, and Agatha was a pushover, so it was my time to rematch Lance. He starts with Gyarados, and we start with Scorch. The first turn, Gyarados goes for Dragon Rage, and we set up the Sun. Next turn, Gyarados goes for Bite, and we land Fire Blast, which brings Gyarados to half health. Next, Gyarados goes for Dragon Rage, and we end it with Fire Blast. Next was Aerodactyl, and we didn't get a chance to attack before we were knocked out. We go for Flamethrower, which does more than half thanks to the Sun. The next turn, it goes for Hyper Beam, but only does 60 damage. We can almost take it out with Flamethrower, but not quite. I know that Lance will probably full restore though. Lance doesn't though, and next turn we can take it out. Next was Dragonair, which goes down in 2 Flamethrowers. Unfortunately, it did paralyze us. The next Dragonite comes out and we get paralyzed. On the next turn, we have to tank a Dragon Range, and we shot a Flamethrower back, doing more than half damage. Lastly was Dragonite, and on the first turn, we lose to an Outrage. We only have Clifford left, and a Flamethrower isn't doing much. Dragonite Outrage does almost half of our damage though. Luckily, next turn, we get a burn on our Flamethrower. 3 attempts later, and we get to the Dragonite again. This time, Clifford was at full health. Dragonite hurts itself in confusion, and burn almost dies. Next turn, Lance uses a full restore, which is so annoying because we almost made it. We get a few Flamethrowers in before Dragonite attacks with Outrage. We could have taken out Dragonite easily if it wasn't for this goddamn critical hit. I was still pissed off at this point. I stopped playing for a few days. Eventually I came to my senses, but I was fuming mad. On the next attempt, we get to the Dragonite again. We had Scorch in, and with a Sun Fire Blast, we could do almost half. On the next turn, we used Fire Blast, which might have activated a full restore. Dragonite goes for Wing Attack, and Scorch took a lot of damage. With the Sun down, Fire Blast couldn't take out Dragonite, and Dragonite Hyper Beams taking out Scorch. I bring in Pepper Breath, finishing the job. We managed to beat the rest of the team, just leaving me and the champion. I was definitely scared at this point. Blastoise could easily one-shot my team if our rival was smart. We need to get lucky at this point. I start with Pepper Breath since our rival uses Pidgeot. I go for Flamethrower, which does about 2/3. Pidgeot gets a sand attack though, and next turn we can take it out. Next was the dreaded Blastoise, and instead of switching on our turn, I use Overheat, hoping it can do a lot of damage. We miss, which was definitely not part of the plan, and Blastoise lands a Hydro Pump, leaving us in the red. I decide to sack Charizard and go for Overheat again. It would have worked if I didn't miss again. This was so unlucky, and I just hated the run after this. And I go into Scorch and try to set up Sunny Day, but instead Scorch takes a lot of damage to Hydro Pump. We managed to set up the stun at least, but Scorch had to die. I bring in Clifford, but Flamethrower can't do that much damage. It was when Blastoise set up Rain Dance I knew this run was over. And honestly, at this point, I have wrote 2,142 words on the Elite Four itself. So I'm just gonna get to the important runs. On the next attempt, we get through the Blastoise. Yeah, Scorch managed to Fire Blast the Tortoise into the depths of hell. But we still had the rest of the team to worry about. Rydon was out next, and we missed a Fire Blast, and we died to a Rock Team. We only had Clifford left, but it was possible to win. While the sun was still up, Clifford goes to a Flamethrower, doing half damage to Rydon. On the next turn, we take it out. Next was Pidgeot at red, but it gets full restored anyways. After 2 Flamethrowers, we can take it out. Next was Alakazam, who landed a crit Psychic, which almost took us out. We get a Flamethrower in, which is more than half. But then my emulator shut off, and when I reopened it, we were in the yellow. I think the crit just went away, but I have no idea what happened. Anyways, we take out the Alakazam, and Executor was next, which we take out with 1 Flamethrower. We only have 1 more Pokemon, Arcanine, and we could actually win this, guys. Sadly, we take Future Sight from Alakazam, and we're in the red. Arcanine goes for Flamethrower, which boosts our attack due to our ability, and we get a Flamethrower in there. We only need 1 more Flamethrower to land to win. Sadly, Arcanine goes for Bite, and we lose. We were so close at this point, I was so mad. The next attempt was very similar. We lost to Arcanine using Extreme Speed, but the attempt after that was absolutely insane. We got through Lorelei, Bruno, Agatha, and Lance. Going into the champion battle, we were out of healing items, so Arcanine had to sit this one out. We were also low on power points. Pidgeot went down to a Flamethrower, and when Blastoise came in, I switched into Scorch. I set up Sunny Day, and Blastoise misses his Hydro Pump. Finally, some luck for us. The next turn, we miss a Fire Blast, so just fuck this. And Blastoise sets up Rain Dance. We set up Sunny Day the next turn, and this is turning into a huge weather war. Blastoise lands Hydro Pump, but we can take it with the sun. The next turn, we land the Fire Blast, almost killing Blastoise, and we got a burn. Blastoise set up Rain Dance, but it didn't matter because on the next turn, we miss? Oh god, Blastoise takes out Scorch with a crit, weather boosted Hydro Pump. We only had Pepper Breath left again, against the entire team. This was our chance. We were tired of losing this attempt. Pepper Breath has been here for so many times. Brock, Misty, and it was here through all of our challenges, and he needed to put an end to this. Our rival full restores, so the run is basically over. We go for Flamethrower, but it does nothing under the rain. We go for Flamethrower again, and we still can't make it to the yellow. Blastoise lands a Hydro Pump, which almost kills. We Flamethrower again, which leaves Blastoise in the yellow. Blastoise misses his Hydro Pump, and the rain stopped. On the next turn, we can finish it with Flamethrower. I still have no idea how to handle the rest of this team though. But with the power of love, we might be able to make it fun. Next is Rydon, and we are in the red. We go for Flamethrower, which almost takes it out, but fortunately Rydon misses Rock Tomb. Our rifle goes for a full restore, but we still can't take it out with a high roll. Next was Alakazam, which surprisingly went down to a Flamethrower. Same thing happened to the Executor, and finally was Arcanine, which I killed with Overheat. And I have never in my life experienced such a battle like that. We got lucky a lot. I don't know how we pulled that off, but somehow we had beat the challenge. This would not have been possible if I didn't have Pepper Breath, Scorch, or Clifford. Scorch, without Scorch, we would never have had the Fire Spin at the beginning, and Sunny Day would be much less effective if Scorch wasn't using it. Clifford was also a huge asset. It had the highest base stat total out of all of our Pokemon, and there was no way we could have made it through. Even evolving Clifford made so much of a difference. Finally was Pepper Breath, who we literally could not have started the challenge with, but he was more than that. He was a true warrior in this challenge. He definitely made it through all those hard fights. Brock, Misty, and it went through so much pain, but finally he was able to almost take out our rival's whole team. So definitely could not have made it throughout with all of them. Reflecting on this challenge, it was very hard. We were forced to use non-effective moves on gym leaders and rivals. It really pushed my Pokemon knowledge and skills to the test. If you can get through Misty, then it was pretty fun. I definitely raged a lot in this challenge, but overall I'm glad I did it. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment if you want to see another challenge like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.